Time to add some power to my 24 LZ0. This is part number 22712. This is the Edge EZX, just came out. This video is going to be dedicated to the installation of the unit. It seems pretty basic. It's going to be a little tough to get to the map sensor back there, but it taps into the map sensor, the mass airflow sensor, as well as the fuel rail pressure sensor, which will be right under there. If you don't have the PPE charge air cooler or the PPE Zilla pipe like I do, yours will look a little bit different, but the whole process is going to be pretty much identical. Rolling over to the unit right here, we could see that there's a bolt connector that's going to go near the airbox, and then this is going to plug into the module, and we'll get into that. And here are the connectors to the sensors that I just said. Now, these adapters right here, these are for LM2 only, if I understood the directions correctly. So we will not use these because I'm not an LM2. So we have the instructions here, very clear instructions, so I've got full understanding on what to do. We're going to go ahead and roll over to the truck and start getting this installed right now. If you're asking yourself, what the heck is this and why would I even want it? I have a full video dedicated to just the basic questions of this Edge EZX module. Now, I suggest you go check out that video for the details of it, and I also answer that question of, will this void my warranty? Because that's a long one. But we're going to go ahead and stick to just the install of this. My first line of attack is going to be loosening up the elbow here, and then I'm going to disconnect this connector. There is a red lock tab. I'm going to slide that over, and then I'm going to be able to push this tab down and pull that off. That's going to disconnect the mass airflow sensor. It is highly recommended that you disconnect the battery, and I will actually do that first. But once we disconnect the battery, I'm going to disconnect the elbow here. I'm going to remove the airbox lid. I got a cool way of putting this back together, so make sure you check that out towards the end when I'm reinstalling everything. But once we have access underneath there, we'll be able to see that map sensor that's under there a lot better. I'm doing everything I can to push up on the actual rubber of the boot there and not scratch my carbon lid. And then separate like that. So what I did was I pulled it up, and then I was able to slide these tabs this way. I will pull my air filter out so I don't drop any dirt on there. With that off, I can now work the same thing with this boot. One way to tell if your air filter is actually doing its job is to look inside your boot. Now, yours will look a little bit different if you don't have the PP airbox or the elbow, but the theory is still the same. But you can use your finger, wipe it across there to see, is there any dirt? I don't see anything in there, but if you're running an aftermarket filter, like a K&N filter or any one of those, you may see dirt inside there. In my case, I'm using just the regular factory air filter, the paper version, and we don't have any dirt in there. So check on that, just a little tip to see. You can also do the same with your intake duct. No dirt. Filter is doing an excellent job filtering the dirt out. At this point, you have two options. You can unbolt this coolant reservoir. This is just a 10mm bolt right here, and then you can pull that up and out of the way. That will give you a little bit more room, but what we're after is actually, see that red tab right there? That's the location of the map sensor connector. So we're trying to get to that, which I can get to it with leaving everything else in place. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue on this way. But if you want a little bit of extra room, feel free to unbolt that. You're not going to lose any coolant. Just pull it out of your way a little bit. So you can see what I did right there. I was doing my best to not cover it up with my hand. So you could do it however which way works best for you. But you want to push this red lock tab back. And then that little button right behind it, just push down on that. And that will unlatch it. Now what we can do is plug in our map sensor connector. And it's clearly labeled MAP. So I'm going to unravel this. And then we're going to take the MAP and we'll route it right back there. With the map sensor disconnected, you're going to go ahead and connect the stock connector to the black one on this harness. And then this other one will go into the map sensor. Before doing that, you're going to want to reroute this down under through here. so that way it's nice and hidden. Let's see if we can do this one-handed. It's a little tough. You don't have to do it this way, but it's going to be a little bit cleaner. Less wires to see when we're all finished up. You can see I've now got it routed up. We're going to go ahead and connect the black one to the factory connector like this. I heard it click, then we're going to slide the lock in. Now this one we'll go ahead and connect to the map sensor, and then be sure to slide the red lock once completed. Next we want to get to the fuel rail pressure sensor, which is located right there. That's this guy. What we want to do first is slide the gray tab back, the lock tab, and then we're going to push on that button to release it. So you can see I was just pushing down while pulling on it. I'm going to go ahead and connect my fuel rail pressure sensor. See how this one's labeled MAF? We don't want that one. We want this fuel rail pressure sensor. FRP. So we'll connect the factory one. I'm doing this one-handed, so bear with me on this. I believe that's upside down. It only goes one way. I heard it lock, and we're going to lock that in. So now this other connector right here, this one will go into the fuel rail pressure sensor, which I cannot do from this angle. There we go. Got that all connected. The lock is in place. Harness is routed there. We're going to go ahead and get that pulled up. I did use a zip tie here to run that right there, to hold that up against there. I'm going to go ahead and do another zip tie on this harness after I connect the mass airflow sensor and get this routed. All right, you need to be 100% certain nothing fell inside there. Feel free to check. You also want to wiggle it, make sure that the grommet that's in the back is still secured, and that's all in place. So we're good on that. Now we'll take our airbox lid and we'll angle that down. Get the 3 tabs to lock into place. Once we get the 3 tabs in place on the airbox, make sure nothing else is pinched, and then pull these down together. Now we can go ahead and take our mass airflow sensor. This is our factory connector, again, to the black. Push it in, slide the lock in place, like so, and then this one will go ahead and go into our mass airflow sensor, just like that. So this harness will be routed around to the box over there, but first we need to remove this one. So this one could be a little difficult, so you want to first start off by sliding the red lock up. May not be able to do it with one hand. Here we go. Got that up like so. And you can see the red lock has removed itself from this little cam lock. So now we want to push on this. I'm going to need to do it with my hand though. Push on this while sliding it up. And there we go. Disconnected. If this does dislodge from the box, it slides back into place. Super easy. So now we want to take our edge connector. It's only going to go in one way. Like that. We want to do the same thing. Now slide this down. I heard it click. It's locked into place. Slide our red lock in. We're going to do the same with this. Slide it down. There we go. Heard it click. Locked. So now this can go wherever we can find a nice home for. I guess I'm going to be zip tying it down here. Something. We'll work on that in a moment. But then the rest of this goes over here to our box. Alright, now the edge box, we can zip tie this over there. You can use the double-sided tape and stick it to the side of the box. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to set it in place for right now. That just goes in like so. Very positive lock there. Now we are set. We are ready to connect the battery, and then we'll open up our app. Alright, I just opened up the app. We will want to go ahead and turn the key on. We do that by just holding the button down. Still holding. There we go. What I like to do is flip the lights off. Roll the window down so we can close the door and not get locked out. We'll go ahead and get into the app. We don't have an account, so we're going to have to register. So it's currently checking for updates. Press back to continue. There we go. We are officially connected. So now we don't have to be this close to the module. You do need to be within a certain amount of feet in the module, but let's go over here so we don't have lights. All right, we've got our 6 options here. Power level, ECT protect, auto start stop. Oh, let's disable that immediately. Disabled. So now when I go to start up the truck, that auto start stop will be off every single time. DPF regen and mobile DPF regen. That's if you want to do it on the road while you're driving versus parked. I recommend doing the one on while driving. There's special circumstances where you need to do that, and we're not going to get into that. Got a different video for that. Diagnostics. Looks like just read and clear trouble codes, check emissions readiness. Nothing will be ready because I disconnected the battery. So ECT protect, default safety measure. Excellent. That's cool. All right, so power level is our only option that we can see here. Power level 2. If you're curious on the power, this is the LM2 variation. Those are the power levels. I do not have the LZ0 because that data is not out as of the time of installing this. But we do want to stick with level 2 or 3 roughly is where I want to go. So we're going to stick with let's go to level 3. Now it also talks about throttle sensitivity. I don't want any throttle sensitivity because I want to feel the power that this provides, not what it's fooling the throttle pedal to feel like. So we've got it set to 0. This is just straight power level increase, and that's how I'm going to drive it around. And that'll be my more thorough test. That'll be coming up in the next video. What we want to do now is if anytime I want to change the power, I can do it on the fly. So we can go to power level 1 right now if we wanted to, and it's there. So if you had the Insight CTS3, you could do that up there. But honestly, the way that I see this is you're going to set this to 1 power level, and it's going to be there all the time. Power level 5, don't plan on using that very much because I'm not looking to break the truck. I just want some more power, and level 3 in the middle was a sizable increase. This is the finished product here. The only complaint I have at this point is just I don't have anywhere to really put this other connector, so I've got it kind of wedged down there. I did not zip tie these at all. I don't like that it's kind of pulling on those. That could create an issue in the future. If I have like mass airflow sensor related codes, that would be the first place I look. I did Velcro it on the back side of the box there, only because I don't want it to be out here in the heat. I want it to be as cool as possible. Underhood, it's still going to get hot, granted, but at least it's out of the way a little bit. So maybe there's a little bit of airflow, but that'll keep it cool. I'm not sure if it has overheating issues with the boxes or whatever, but I'm just trying to do all the precautions that I possibly can. You guys didn't really think I'd leave you hanging without at least a little test drive now, did you? Let's go ahead and see what this thing's got. First order of business is I have not touched the auto stop start, AC is not on. For all reasons, this auto stop start should be in effect. It works. All right, there we go. Noticeable increase in power. All right, let's do a little bit of a roll here. Yeah, I'd say it's definitely improved. So just that little bit, again, we're not on level 5, we're not at the max power, but noticeable gain right there. And as you guys saw, 0 pedal sensitivity change. So we are sitting pretty good on this power-wise, so nothing's being fooled as far as the throttle pedal goes. But if we add a little bit of throttle pedal sensitivity in there, this thing's gonna feel night and day different. So just off the bat right there with a little bit of a power increase, pretty happy with that. We're gonna leave it on this, keep driving it, and we'll do a longer term review of it in the next video.